All right, guys, now we have a little bit of a more important video to react to. Why is it so bright? And my camera came in nice and bright. Now we have a more important video to react to. A little bit on a serious note. You know, back in the late 70s and late 1980s and 90s also, even up until today, but really heavy in the late 70s and the 1980s and 90s, they were pushing birth control like a motherfucker. So ladies out there, by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions, were out there taking these birth control pills. And they would take them for all sorts of different reasons. It would fix issues they were having with their periods. And it would, obviously help them not get pregnant so they could have unprotected sex with whoever they wanted to, whenever they wanted to. And they just felt like they could just party with anybody and, hook up with everybody. It was something that massively contributed to hookup culture. But a lot of people don't realize when women take birth control, the type of men that they're attracted to changes drastically. So the normal, the manosphere, the red pill, likes to say the alpha fucks the beta bucks. So women like to hook up with the hot giga chad, rough and tough alpha males. They like to fuck those guys. And then they like to settle down with, the weak, financially secure, sweetheart beta males. But when a woman takes birth control, she becomes sexually attracted to the beta males and she begins to hate the alpha males. But then when she gets off of it, it switches back over. So when a woman enters a relationship, when she's on birth control, the guy that she's with, she might be attracted to one guy when she's on birth control, but when she gets off, she may be repulsed by him. So we're going to watch a female reacting to her experiences on birth control here. Let's pull this up.
Hello, so this is going to be a quick PSA about birth control and how it can completely change what you're attracted to, who you like, how you feel about things, just like everything about you, because that's what I experienced. So I wish somebody had told me that this could happen because this was very unknown to me. So I've been on birth control since I was like 14 or 15 because I was always hemorrhaging. I had like really horrible periods. And birth control was the only thing that helped it. So I'm 27 now. So that was like 13 years, 12, 13 years ago that I was on birth control, which is insane when you think about it because it's my entire adult life. And I can honestly say, since I've been off of it, I know now who I am and I understand myself better and I feel more comfortable with myself. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. My whole adult life, I've struggled with anxiety and depression and all of that jazz. Turns out I did have a thyroid condition, so a lot of that was attributed to that. And there was a very low point in 2018 that I was like super, super depressed. And I hadn't dated in like 3 years because my previous boyfriend got arrested, cheated on me, was emotionally abusive.
So basically, he was a Chad. So her previous boyfriend was an alpha male. He was emotionally abusive. He cheated on her. He got arrested all the time. Maybe she didn't describe what he looks like, but I'm guessing he was tall, muscular, masculine man, probably had a huge cock, and he was just this rough and tough alpha male. And that's what she was into. That's the type of man that she was physically attracted to.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's who she wanted to be with.
And I was kind of scared of men for a really long time. So when I was super depressed in 2018, everybody was like, you should just start dating again. Like maybe that'll just help you, be a little bit happier. You'll get out more. You'll meet new people. You'll be more social. So I just like wouldn't leave my apartment. And I wasn't one for dating apps or anything like that. So I had recently started rock climbing at the time to force myself to get out of the house because I was in such a depression.
Have you been smoking marijuana?
And my friends were like, you need to meet someone. Just ask someone on a date. So I was like, okay, let me just like, what do I have to lose? So I go to the climbing gym one day and I see somebody. I literally looked around the room and I was like, let me pick somebody that I've talked to already that seems nice, probably wouldn't be a serial killer, and just ask them for their phone number. So that's what I did. And I literally went up to this one guy. I was like, hey, I'm looking to make a group of people to go outdoor climbing with. If you would like to come, you can give me your phone number.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Look like a serial killer. I'm pretty sure I actually said that to him. So, if you want to join us, let me know. And he gave me his phone number, completely oblivious to the fact that I was like just trying to get him to go on a date with me. We started dating, and it was pretty great. Like, it definitely helped my depression because I was distracted.
So she was on birth control and she got tired of the alpha male. The guy that gets arrested is emotionally abusive, has a huge cock, is tall, is buff, is handsome, and cheats on her and whatever. And now she decided to get with a beta male, so she cold approached, and that he's a beta male because she approached him. An alpha male approaches who he wants to fuck and he fucks her. A beta male is just kind of minding his own business. And here comes this girl. So she swapped out the alpha for a beta when she was on birth control.
From it. He was very different than me. Like, we were completely different people. I'm very all over the place, unorganized. I'm a creative. So I'm a mess all the time. And he is an academic. He has his PhD. He runs on schedules and he's really organized, which is what I needed in my life because
pure beta. He's got all the beta male traits. Good job, very organized, schedules his life. Everything is on point. She hasn't described the way either one of these guys look like, but you can tell that the first guy was that tough jock, rough and tough alpha, and this guy is the beta.
Because I was so messed up, I guess. I was just excited that I had met somebody who was genuinely nice. That didn't seem like they were going to destroy my heart. And he didn't want kids, which is a huge thing to me because I am not interested in having children of my own. So we had our differences. We were very different people, but we worked together to try to make this work. And I would say we had a pretty good relationship. It was not perfect by any means. There were a lot of times where we would argue and fight about things, but we were never really bad to each other. And that to me was amazing because my previous relationship was so horrible with the cheating, lying, the getting arrested. It was just really refreshing to meet somebody like this. I think 8 months into it, we actually moved in together and we were talking about marriage and stuff. And I was telling my mom, I was okay, he's not perfect, but he's really great. He's a really nice person. So this is probably it, just so you know. And she was so excited. She's like, he's got a PhD. I was like, that means absolutely nothing. But so our entire relationship was about a year and a half. Not even, no, it was a year and maybe 2 or 3 months. And so I had still been dealing with quite a bit because, my thyroid was still messed up. I was on different levels of medication all the time. So I was still in this depression. I was, still trying to get out of it, but he was really, really trying to push me to make me feel better. He encouraged me to take a job that I definitely didn't want to take because it was not the right company for me. And I took this all as support, but now that I think about it now, he was definitely trying to change me. He wanted me to be more like him, where he's on a schedule, he's on time all the time, he's organized, and I think he really wanted that for me because
he's a real adult. He's a real boy, and she wants to be not like a real adult, which is fine. Everybody has their preferences in life, I suppose. But he was trying to hold her accountable and make her a responsible girl.
But that's what would make me feel better. But I figure that that's just how relationships go. You sacrifice to make things work. And we were really trying to make things work. So my medication wasn't really working. And I had been on birth control for so long. And I was maybe the hormones are affecting my medication. So I really just wanted to stop birth control and see if that would help. So I decided to go off of birth control and just cold turkey, cut it out of my life. And within a week, I could not stand my boyfriend.
Oh. Imagine this, guys. Imagine this. You meet a woman. You're out taking a hike or wherever it is. And this woman approaches you. She seems really cool, really chill. She asks you out on a date. You go with her. You end up, really hitting it off and having a really solid relationship. And 2 years into the relationship, she decides to stop taking a medication. And when she stops taking that medication, all of her attraction to you disappears. So the only thing that made you attractive to her was the fact that she was on a medication.
Have you been smoking marijuana?
They were pushing that shit on us really heavy in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and how many relationships and how many love lives and how many future marriages and families do you think got fucked up and destroyed because of it? I mean, you got to think about it. If a medication that women take and it just tells them, hey, it'll make your period go away when you're on it, or whatever. So they take it thinking, oh, great, it's just something that's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me not get pregnant when I'm in college or whatever. So they take this shit, and this is the results that you get. And look at her. Look at how, and no disrespect to this girl. If the author of this video happens to watch this reaction, no disrespect to you. It's awesome that you made a video that was educational and you're teaching people about your experience. That's great because people need to learn this shit. But clearly you have put yourself in a position where you are damaged because of this. This medication caused you to make irrational decisions, and now you are damaged, and you're on YouTube trauma dumping your damage. I mean, that's a fact. And it's good that you are so other people can learn from it. But still, I mean, let's be real.
And this sounds so horrible, but it was like a switch just flipped in my brain. And everything that I thought I liked about him, I hated. I wasn't attracted to anything about, not him just physically, but like who he was. Like, I couldn't stand that he was an academic. I couldn't stand that he was on a schedule. Like, everything really bothered me. And it just blew my.
Imagine one day, like, have you ever seen the movie The Vow with, what's that guy? Not Ryan Gosling, Channing Tatum. Have you ever seen The Vow with Channing Tatum and that cute little ginger chick? I forget her name. Anyways, they're in love with each other, and they have a car accident, and she has a concussion, and she can't remember him. So she doesn't know who he is, and she goes back with her ex-boyfriend. So that's sort of what happens on birth control. So a woman will be madly in love with you, or a woman will have a boyfriend when she's on birth control and be madly in love with him. And then as soon as she gets off of it, she no longer has any attraction to him at all. She no longer has any feelings for him at all. She's now repulsed by that guy. That is fucked.
My mind how much I could change in a week. And I was like, oh, well, maybe my hormones just need to balance out. But no, like, that's who I am. Like, I'm not attracted to that. And birth control made me attracted to that because it raises your estrogen levels rather than your testosterone. And like, I generally just have higher testosterone levels, which makes me.
Yeah. So when girls have really high estrogen, they're more on the emotional side. So she might be more attracted to a beta male. Whereas when she has higher testosterone, she wants some thug dick. She wants to fuck the bad boy, the alpha male. And that's natural for women to want to be that way, right? It's natural for them to be attracted to physically dominant, strong men with aggressive personalities as well, dominant men. And it's also, normal for them to pursue a man who's a good provider and all that. But, birth control just kind of throws that whole deal off.
More attracted to more like masculine, muscly people, I guess. And he was quite the opposite of that. So it was like overnight, I woke up, I was like, who am I sleeping next to? And I felt really horrible about it because that was not fair to him at all whatsoever. And he's like a genuinely great guy. Like, he's, killing it for himself. He deserves so much more than what I put him through. But it wasn't me anymore. I didn't feel like me. And I didn't feel like I knew who I was. because it just felt like a completely different person. But other than it destroying my relationship, going off birth control made me so happy. I stopped having brain fog, which I didn't even realize I had. I wasn't depressed anymore. I didn't feel like I had this rainy cloud above me. I felt more creative and motivated and inspired, and I wanted to like leave the house more often. It was just like a complete 180. And unfortunately, it really affected my relationship because obviously I didn't want to be with him anymore. Aside from not being into him anymore, I also had a small crush on one of our other friends the entire time we were in a relationship, which I completely suppressed.
Small crush on another guy while she was with this guy. How much you want to bet the guy she had the small crush on was the bad boy with the muscles that gets arrested, is abusive, the alpha male?
Because I was comfortable being in the relationship I was in. But as soon as like that switch flipped, I was like, no, like I'm really attracted to this other guy and I'm really unhappy in my relationship. So, but what I'm trying to say is that it's really important, especially if you've been on birth control for so long that you haven't known your partner off of birth control and you plan on getting married, please go off birth control before you get married. Because now, like after doing research, there are so many women who have been in birth control the whole time they've been with their current partners. They get married and then they go off birth control to have babies and they can't stand their partner. It like really changes what you're attracted to. It changed so much about me, like what turns me on, what like makes me like happy, like what I think is romantic, what I think is like annoying, what bothers me, like everything. It changed so much about me. And at 27, I can finally say I'm comfortable and I'm confident and I know who I am now. And I have never had that feeling before. So while I don't regret being on birth control because I definitely needed it, and a lot of women do need it, there are so many other options now, even like hormone-free IUDs. Just like there's just so many things you can do instead of birth control. And if you don't need to be on it, if you feel like you're not your best self, then maybe try going off of it and just see how you feel for a little while. It did make my face break out horribly, and I had some like weight issues afterwards. But after your hormones start to balance out, then you'll feel better than ever, unless you have like PCOS and you're getting like cysts on your ovaries and you're dying of pain. But if you have the option to go off,
Yeah, just a minor little side effect there. No, yeah, you're just having like cysts on your ovaries or cancer or something. No biggie.
birth control, I really recommend you try it because there's just so many of my friends that have said they feel like a different person and they feel like they don't have a cloud over their head. They don't feel like they're mind controlled anymore, because that's actually how I felt. So I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's really important. And I think all women should have the correct knowledge to do what they choose. And I hope this helps even just one person. So thanks for listening to me ramble. Okay, see you, bye.
Good stuff right there. Interesting video. All of you guys out there, never date a girl on birth control. If you have a girlfriend that wants to start taking birth control, talk her out of it. Stay away from it. You know, it's not something that, not a very smart decision. Anyways, I'd like to thank that girl for that video. That was very informative.